Sandy, could you please open the blinds? Sandy hesitated, a gentle smile on her face as she looked at Alice, who was lying on the bed, covered in massive drapes of sheets. The sun is out, Mrs. Jones. Yes, yes. Alice nodded, returning the smile. I know. That's why I want the blinds open. Okay. Sandy, Alice's palliative nurse, nodded and walked to the window, slowly drawing back the curtains and pulling the blinds apart. The room was instantly flooded with golden light, and a happy gasp fell from Alice's lips. She closed her eyes for a brief moment, letting the warmth of the sun wash over her feeble body. When she opened them again, she saw the beautiful sun's rays spill across the bed, casting warm streaks of light over the sheets. Her body was heating up due to the rays, and Alice tried to push the sheets off but failed. Her body felt heavy, like the weight of the cancer ravaging her system has seeped into her bones. Every movement was a monumental effort that came with pain. Mrs. Jones. Sandy drifted towards the bed, the gentle smile never falling from her lips. Do you need help? Yes, please. Could you help me get these sheets off? They're quite heavy. Sandy laughed. Yes, they are. And they're good for you because your bones must be protected from the cold. She slid the sheets off Alice's body and sat on the chair beside her. How do you feel? Alice smiled, but it was strained and sad. She didn't remember when she was last happy. Just tired. Little bit of pain. Sandy nodded. Don't worry. In a few hours you can take your next dose of painkillers. Alice turned to the large windows by the bed, her head filling with so much thought she could hardly enjoy the outside view of a world she no longer seemed to be a part of. For 3 years she had been battling leukemia. When she first discovered it, she went through a series of active treatments, hoping it would help. As a multimillionaire, she could afford the best forms of cancer treatments, but none of it worked. For years, she continued to fight and subject herself to the harsh treatment of this body-ravaging disease, until 4 months ago the medical board in her hospital advised her to stop the treatments because it was negatively impacting her overall health and reducing her quality of life. They assigned 3 palliative nurses to her home care, one of which was Sandy, Alice's favourite. For 4 months, Alice has stayed at home, confined to this bedroom, waiting for the day she would shut her eyes forever. At 32 years old, she was supposed to be full of life. Years ago, she had such big dreams and high hopes for herself. Who knew that a time would come when she would wish for death? She was wealthy, with many cars, landed properties, and a thriving restaurant chain. None of it mattered in the face of bad health. Do you want some ice cream? Sandy asked. Alice started to shake her head, but the nurse nudged her playfully. There's mint chocolate chip, Sandy said. Your favourite. Alice glanced at her curiously. I thought you said we were out of mint chocolate chip ice cream. Sandy's smile widened. Mr. Jones had several tubs delivered, along with a flower bouquet. Alice gasped and tried to sit up, but a sharp pain flashed through her body. Careful! Sandy propped a few pillows behind her, helping her sit up comfortably. Why didn't you tell me George sent me flowers and ice cream? Alice asked, unable to stop her smile. It's her first genuine smile of the day. You were sleeping and I didn't want to wake you, Sandy said. Should I go and get it? Yes, please. The flowers too. When Sandy left the room, Alice's body thrummed with excitement. The cancer would have killed her faster if she didn't have a wonderful, caring, and loving husband. George was the best man she could have ever asked for. It's like the universe knew she would fall sick and gave her Georgie as a solace. Ever since they discovered the cancer years ago, he had been her source of strength and hope. On days when she was sick and tired of life, George was always there to encourage her. On nights when the pain was overwhelming, George would cry with her and pray for her. During the day, he would send her romantic texts, flowers, chocolates, some cute jewellery, everything he could to put a smile on her face. In her next life, she would choose George again. They have been married for 6 years, and the love only grew stronger. Sandy reappeared and Alice gasped at the huge lavender bouquet. Dangling from one of the stems is a card. Alice excitedly took the bouquet and flipped the card to read it. It said, "Lavender is a flower that symbolizes healing and strength. With this bouquet, I hope you get lots of it. I can't wait to come home to you and your lovely smile. I love you so much, Mrs. Jones, counting the seconds until I'm back. P.S. Nurse Sandy mentioned your favourite ice cream flavour is no longer in the fridge, so I ordered some. Enjoy. When I return home, we can have some while we watch Modern Family. With love, George." Alice laughed, rereading the letter several times before inhaling the flowers. It smelled heavenly. "I love lavenders," Sandy said, setting the ice cream tub by the bedside table. "The scent puts me right to sleep." "Oh, is that why I suddenly feel sleepy?" Alice teased. "I love them." "Mr. Jones knows you would," Sandy answered. "Your husband loves you so much, Mrs. Jones. As a nurse, I rarely see husbands stand with their wives through harsh bouts of sickness such as this. He's been wonderful." "I know," Alice chuckled. She glanced at the overhead clock and sighed. It's only 2 p.m, and George returned by 5, 3 more hours without him. "Can you help me put this in a case?" Alice yanked the card out and handed the bouquet to Sandy. When Sandy left, she grabbed the ice cream tub and relaxed against the pillows, looking outside again with a fresher perspective. Despite the sadness and overwhelming fatigue, Alice revelled in the love of George and the feel of the sun on her skin. They're a small reminder of life's beauty amidst the struggle. "Aria, wait!" George grabbed Aria's hand, but she jerked away from his touch and stormed across the room, her eyes full of anger and frustration. "Get your hands off me!" she hissed. "Leave me alone!" George sighed and ran a hand through his hair. "Come on, don't be difficult." Aria gasped and turned to him, hurt filling her eyes. "Difficult? I'm being difficult. George, we have been dating for 5 years, and in all this time, nothing has happened. You're still with your wife," she cried. "For 5 years, I've been the other woman. I'm tired of it." George watched Aria come undone, feeling a sense of remorse. He liked Aria a lot, and in the years since his wife Alice got sick with cancer, she's been his ray of sunshine. The sex between them was great. They had fun. Everything was great. He didn't want to lose her. "Aria." George moved towards her, but she frowned and skipped out of the way, walking to the other side of the spacious living room to put distance between them. "Aria, come on. You know Alice is sick. It's only a matter of time before she dies. She's stopped active treatments and has been home for 4 months. I could return home now to hear she's dead. I've told you this several times. Please, it's—" "You've been saying this for years," Aria cut him off. "I'm tired of living in motels, George. I'm tired of staying with friends and waiting on the phone until we can meet again. I want something stable. I want something concrete. I want us to live together. Like a real couple." George walked towards her again, and this time, she let him. He stopped before her, gently grabbing her shoulders and kissing her softly. "If only you'll have more patience," he said. "Last month, Alice signed everything she owned to me. I've always had access to her wealth, but once this transfer is finalized, everything will be in my name, and I can go ahead and buy us a house. I know it's what you've always wanted." "But is it what you want?" "Of course it's what I want," George answered. "I love you. Don't you know that? I love you so much, Aria." "Then leave Alice. Break up with her." George gaped at Aria in shock. He loved her, but he was more desperate for his financial gain. And if he divorced or broke up with Alice, he would get nothing. "I can't do that," he said. "If I break up with Alice, I may get nothing. Then how do you want us to live the life we want? How can I afford our dream home and vacations?" Arya was quiet until she eventually